All right, welcome everyone to the Friday Tech Talk. Today's guest speaker is none other than Josh Matthews. He is the founder of Salesforce Staffing and a leading expert in Salesforce recruitment. He has over 20 years of experience and over 20,000 followers. He specializes in connecting organizations with top technical talent and shares career insights as a guest speaker, lecturer at many tech events. He also is the host of Salesforce Career Show, and he is the creator of the Josh Force YouTube channel. So do check that out, Josh Force. Today's talk is called What Recruiters Really Look For in a Resume and Interview. And Josh will cover how to stand out in today's competitive market. And you will learn what exactly recruiters seek in candidates. You will discover key elements of a strong resume and how to craft a compelling interview responses and much more. Without further ado, Josh, take it away.
All right. Thank you so much for that wonderful introduction. It is absolutely awesome to be back here at the Tech Academy. I love coming to these programs. I really dearly miss being able to attend them live. I am in sunny Florida these days and have been for about 2.5 years. So I am grateful for all the technology that allows more people to attend these events, and I certainly appreciate you guys inviting me. So today, as mentioned, we're going to be talking about all sorts of things that will help you get noticed and hopefully get hired. And there are a few important elements to this. We've got your resume, we've got your LinkedIn profile, and we also have the actual interview, and then some other things like networking and that kind of stuff, and educating yourself. So today's going to be a little bit of a just kind of straightforward talk. I don't have a lot of slides, and that's on purpose. I recognize that there was a not dissimilar talk about a month and a half ago with a lot of slides. And I don't know about you, but when I see a lot of slides, maybe I can screen capture that stuff. Maybe I'll ever look back at it, but probably not. So what I want to do instead is get you guys engaged, okay? And I'm going to make some recommendations so that you can get the most out of this. All of you, every single one of you, have done an amazing job of trying to treat yourself kindly by joining Tech Academy. You're trying to elevate your career. You're trying to elevate your station in life, probably pursue your passion, earn a little bit more money, and have a fulfilling life. And career happens to, for many of us, be a really critical part of that. So to get engaged with this little chat that we're going to be having, I'm going to ask you guys to do something, and that is to take notes. And it doesn't matter if you type them up and jot them down on a piece of paper, but if you don't, the reality is you're going to remember about 6% of this information, and that's all. And if you really want to have a fulfilling career and you're taking this time out of your afternoon on a Friday, I really want some of this stuff to sink in for you, okay? So what does that look like? Well, just you hear something interesting, you write it down. It doesn't mean you have to be typing verbatim what I'm saying, and I imagine it's being recorded, and I keep getting this ding ding thing. It's very distracting. I don't know if I can turn that notification off. I'll try. So please take notes, and we're going to dive right in, and we're going to start with your resume. So generally, I really like to have interactive conversations. People can feel free to ask a question or raise their hand. I'm not going to control anything. So if someone raises their hand, they've got a great question, I want you to feel free, and whoever's moderating can let you in and ask that question of me, and I'll do my best to answer you. Now, resumes are really important. I heard someone very recently call it a blunt instrument, and I'm here to absolutely say that that is not the case. It is not a blunt instrument. It is a delicate instrument designed to carve through a lot of the noise and a lot of what's going on with the reader emotionally, with their fears, with their expectations, okay? These people are hiring managers or HR professionals or headhunters and recruiters. And I want you to imagine what it might be like for them before we even go into this stuff, okay? So I posted a job last night. I have 250 applicants already. That's a lot. I'm going to have to scan through those, or people on my staff will scan through those, every single one of them. And we're going to first be looking for some of their top skill sets. Is it well written? Does it look decent? We have to take all this stuff in, and we're probably going to put into the B, D, or F pile, right, instead of the A pile, lots of good quality people. And the reason we're going to do that is that it just didn't present themselves well. They didn't give themselves a chance. So most recruiters spend about 6 to 10 seconds on a resume, and that might buy an additional 10 or 15 or even 20 seconds. We are probably never going to read the whole thing unless you're a real candidate and we're scrutinizing you for a specific position and we've got you an interview, okay? So you have to make your information very apparent, the most important stuff very, very quickly, okay? And to do that, you're going to want to have it formatted nicely. Now I'm going to show you something. I'm going to show you an example. Let's go ahead and share my screen. Entire screen. There we go. Share. Okay. All right. I'm going to jump into this little folder here. This is a resume of someone, and she's actually quite good. But boy, is this difficult to read. Notice the lack of white space. Okay? I mean, this is not the easiest thing to scan. Notice the white lettering on a light background, not a lot of contrast. I'm over 50, and even with these on my face, it's kind of a little hard to read. All right? And it looks like we're trying to put about 10 pounds of rice in a 5-pound bag. All right, let's look at another one. There's a lot of examples. I'm just going to pull up a couple others. These are people sometimes with maybe a little bit more experience than you might have right now. Okay, this one. What do you think of this one? I don't think it's that bad. But look at all these bullet points. I'm only going to read 2 or 3, right? So we've got to figure this out. So here's what we're going to do. First and foremost, I have created a little bit of a trick. I spent about 45 minutes on ChatGPT, and while I was on ChatGPT, I created a little custom GPT called Josh Matthews Resume and LinkedIn GPT. All right, and I'm going to give you the link for this. And I'm going to give it to you in a little bit because I want you to stay focused on some of what we're talking about here. But it's going to be an absolutely amazing thing for you, because teaching someone to write a resume in the age of AI is just mostly silly. It's not 100% silly, but it's mostly silly. So I'm going to talk about what you can do to get your resume set up so that you can take this document or whatever it is that you've got, and let's go ahead and drop one in here right now and convert it very easily to something that is readable and makes a lot of sense. So if you're not familiar with AI yet, and I don't know if we are, like, do we have people vocally, like, can people talk and interact on this program? Maybe? I'm not sure. Or am I just going to talk straight for 60 minutes? I can do it.
Okay. Yeah. We usually keep the mics muted until someone raises their hand.
Okay,
and
that's fine.
We can't open it up at the end.
No, that's fine. So I'm not sure what everybody's experience is like with AI. I've really been getting into it. And this little custom GPT that I created will allow you to very quickly create a resume like this, okay? And not only that, I programmed it so that it could look at your information on your resume and create a powerful tagline for your LinkedIn profile, and also an about section right here for your LinkedIn profile. If you don't have a LinkedIn profile, go get one, okay? And follow me on the Salesforce Career Show. You can go to salesforcecareershow.com, or you can type it into Apple Podcasts, Spotify. We're on about, I think, 15 or 17 different platforms. and just search around. There's a lot of information on there about LinkedIn profiles. All right. So I created this thing so that you really would not have to overthink how to give yourself a massive boost in about 2 minutes of dropping something in and hitting submit, and then maybe about 15 minutes of getting onto LinkedIn and populating it. And I'm going to show you those sections. I know I'm bouncing around a little bit today, but you guys are all smart. You're in school, so you can handle it. So this is my profile right here. And here we have, this is where a tagline goes. All right. This is our about section, and where you can actually write with AI. Careful of it too much. You really want to make sure it's mostly your writing and your information. And in here are all the areas where you put in the information about the work that you've done. And this actually gives you customized, smaller versions of your experience so that you're not cluttering or clogging up or just absolutely replicating 100% of your resume. Okay. And if you want to do this, please don't do it right now, but I would jot it down, and you can get here by going to joshforce.com. That's JOSHFORCE.com/AI resume. That's REUSUME. So joshforce.com/AI resume. This was a lot of fun to build. I'm not sure if you guys are getting way into AI, but I'm loving it. And it can really make your life better. Something you can do with your resume too is you can actually just jump in to ChatGPT, or I'm really enjoying Grok these days. Grok it doesn't have all the functionality that GPT does as far as being able to create custom GPTs, but you can drop your resume in here and then just start talking about yourself. Hey, I'm 27. I'm going to the Tech Academy in Portland, Oregon. I'm studying XYZ track. My ambition or my goal is to do this, that, and the other thing. In my past, in addition to what you see on my resume, is all this other information. Would you please help me craft a beautiful resume that will cut through the noise and be easily readable or easy to read? And by the way, you might also want to say in that you would like it to be, what's the word? Tuned for applicant tracking systems. Okay. And this GPT here is. So what that means is it's optimizing the number of keywords, the frequency of the keywords of your chosen skill set and your technical skill set, so that the applicant tracking systems that you submit your resume to are going to pick yours up and hopefully elevate it a little bit higher on the list so that the recruiters actually get to see it instead of kicking it off into Never Never Land and wondering, why is that company not reaching out to me? Okay. So you definitely want your resumes tuned for applicant tracking systems or optimized. If you write your own resume, I still recommend use something like ChatGPT, Grok, Perplexity, which is my favorite research tool on earth, perplexity.ai, and make sure that it's optimized for that. Now let's talk a little bit about some things that we can do to make your resume badass before you even have to run it through something like this. So I'm gonna pull up old resume of mine. Okay. Let's find this one. There we go. All right. So this is really good stuff here, guys. I'm stoked to show you this stuff because if you really want to stand out, if you really want to be different, you've got to do a couple things. You can't have a resume like everybody else, but you can have a resume like everyone else who has a great resume. Does that make sense? Right? Someone asked me the other day, in fact, last night, we were talking about this, and he said, well, what's the point of running your resume through AI? Isn't it just going to look like everybody else? I was like, no, man. I mean, the format might be nice. You know, the format might be kind of similar, but everyone's got their own unique experience, right? And your experience is unique. and you are a special person and you have special gifts and skill sets, things that you're really good at, things that you struggle with. And we want to advertise as quickly as possible and in as nice a way as possible some of those attributes that you possess as an individual that really help you be great at whatever it is that you're doing. And you also want to kind of advertise it or signal it out there in the world, just so that you're also protecting yourself, right? Because you don't want to work for a company that doesn't value you. And you don't want to work in an industry or for a specific manager that isn't going to necessarily value all of your beautiful, wonderful traits that are special for you. Okay, so with that in mind, I'd like you to write this down. Here are some prompts for a really fantastic summary. It's quite simple. Ideally suited to. What are you ideally suited to? Like, really think about that. What are you great at? If you're not sure, I recommend taking one of these free Myers-Briggs tests online. They're free, probably take you 10, 15 minutes, and read it. You'll be shocked at how closely the results align with most aspects of your life, including whether you're an introvert or extrovert, or whether or not you are really into the details of things, or make decisions based on what's right, or making decisions based on how it will affect others, right? So all of these things. So figure out what you're ideally suited to. The next thing is, how do you accomplish this stuff? So I'm ideally suited to this. Mine says to dramatically improving team sales performance and culture. How do I do this? I accomplish this by, accomplishes this by, right? I like this extra line, a willingness to. Like, what are you willing to do? Think about the job that you're applying to, okay? Like, what are the crappy parts of that job? What are you willing to do, right? Willingness to sit there and drudgingly input boring information for hours and hours and hours on end, if necessary, from time to time, now and then, whatever, okay? And then my favorite, known for. We are all known people. You are known. You're known to your family. You're known to your friends. You're known to your current or past employers. You're known to your peers at the Tech Academy. So what are you known for? And if you're not quite sure how to articulate that, that's okay. Just ask everybody. Hey, what do you think I'm known for? When people think about me, when I'm not around and they're saying nice things about me, what are they saying, right? So I'm known for an encouraging, motivational style that utilizes one-on-one coaching as well as team-based initiatives. Okay, but yours probably isn't going to necessarily read quite like that. It's going to read quite like you. So I recommend, before you upload your resume into this Josh Forrest resume builder, that you include this stuff and you save it, because the resume builder is, look, I spent like half an hour, 40 minutes on it. It's not going to be perfect, but it's going to help kind of smooth the edges of a lot of the things that people struggle with. One of them is this. So get your summary in. The next thing I want to point out is you want to have a sentence, just a single sentence, about the company that you're working for. All right. I did program this so that it could tell you like who the company is, but it's real fickle, so it doesn't always do that, right? So I work for this company. This is my job title. And now, who are they? Some people might not. You work at the Tech Academy. Not everybody's going to know that if you're applying for a remote job that's based in Chicago, for instance. So you want to say the Tech Academy is blank, right? And then explain it. Then the next sentence. Notice I'm not in bullets, right? I'm not in bullet land. Bullet, bullet, bullet. Why are you there? Were you recruited? Why did you get hired? What was the purpose of these hiring managers in bringing you on, right? And then what did you do? That's the next sentence. We're only 3 sentences in, okay? And that you don't have to say anything more than that. Next, you go into key achievements. What did you accomplish? And by the way, when we're sharing what we're accomplishing, I want you to just kind of squint your eyes a little bit and look at this thing, okay? Just squint your eyes. Your eyes are probably jumping around to numbers. There's a reason for that. They're different than letters, but the reason why your brain kind of jumps around to that is because it's a different part of your brain that processes numbers than processes words. All right. So get numbers in there wherever you can. Like, I don't know what my achievements were. I don't know what the percent was. I know I helped customer service get better. I'm not sure how much by. It's like, well, that's okay. Go ask your old boss. They'll tell you. Guess, come kind of close. You know what I mean? And moving forward, starting now and for the rest of your career, you're going to track this stuff. Just keep a little Post-it note on your laptop, or I use Evernote. You can just track your accomplishments. What did you accomplish? You have a little win, write it down. Don't forget this stuff, because it will serve you and serve you very well later on. All right. There's not a whole lot more that I feel like we really need to go into here, other than just focus on key achievements, right? Try to include numbers. And the last thing I'm going to say is really think about resulting in. Okay. One of the biggest mistakes that I see, and my gosh, as I mentioned at the start of this conversation, this one-way conversation, we look at a lot of resumes, like tons and tons and tons of them. Okay. I would say more than half, probably closer to 70 or 80%, most bullet points look like job description bullets, right? Like they just copied and pasted whatever the job was and they put that in there. That's not a success story. It never was. It's never gonna be. You're an individual. What did you accomplish? Who did you help? How did you help them? What did that result in? Okay. And don't rush this. Take time. Jot some notes down. Talk to some people. Sleep on it. But really get clear, right? I mean, I've never hired an employee without at least the hope that they're going to bring me revenue or save me time or solve a problem that I'm ill-equipped to solve. So how did you save money? How did you save time? How did you solve a problem that someone else is ill-equipped to solve? Does that make sense? I sure hope it does. Okay. So again, think of these prompts on your summary, right? Keep your bullets to 7 or less. Don't go more than 7. It's too much. It will just start looking like this just cramped, packed stuff. Let me see if I've got another one. Like this one's not bad. That one's not too bad. Your resume is not going to look like this because you may not probably haven't looked that long. But ask yourself, are you going to read this whole thing? Like, you're not. You're going to see like 25 million. CSAT, 45, 85%. You probably can't see it on this tiny screen. All right. So that's it for resumes. And I hope that that really helps you. Slow down, take your time, lean into AI. It's your friend, okay? But don't lose yourself in it. That's really important that you don't lose yourself in it. We're going to jump into LinkedIn real quick, and then we're going to talk about interviews. So we kind of talked already about how you can use this little custom GPT, and it can create some taglines for you. I'm going to share with you my tagline and demonstrate briefly why it's a little bit different, than a lot of other people out there. Look, here's Nick Ronzino. Let's see, talent acquisition Salesforce. Okay, I'm sure Nick's a great guy. He works at Salesforce. He's in New York City. We know what he does. Okay, but that's not what he does. What he does is Nick actually solves problems for his employers. He helps ensure that they're bringing on absolutely incredible, amazing people. So let's look at the difference. I recruit Salesforce and AI superstars and empower leaders to hire for success. I'm specifically addressing and talking about what I'm actually going to do. Isn't this kind of like the resume, right? Like resulting in, right? Or how did you help someone? So this is how I help people. And I'm just saying, this is how I help people. And you should really do the same. If you don't use this GPT, this custom GPT, that's okay. But you can jump into Grok and you can just say, hi, I'm a junior JavaScript developer with only one project completed. I need a tagline for LinkedIn profile. Let's just see what it says. Junior JavaScript developer, passionate coder, building projects, expanding skills. So even Grok knows to do this. Thank you, Grok. All right. Okay. We are already halfway through. So let's go ahead and jump. We'll skip the LinkedIn. I've got videos on this on the Josh Force channel. And I think I have an 1.5-hour episode that is literally dedicated to the top third, just the top third of your LinkedIn profile. So you can really, really, really deep dive, and they're integrating AI to help you. Make sure you do a couple things here that the GPT won't do for you. That is, create a banner. You can do this on Canva. It doesn't have to look like mine. It probably shouldn't and won't, right? It doesn't have to have all your socials on there. But again, you can just go, you can go to the internet, you can go to Canva, and you just need a LinkedIn banner. It shouldn't look gray, and it shouldn't look like everyone else's and all those like 3 or 4 ultra lame, super ugly options that they give you. You're not going to stand out like that, right? You want to demonstrate your passion, right? So make sure that you make something nice. And a quick little trick for you, as you can see, I removed my background on this photo, and I made the color pretty similar to this deep navy that I've got on my banner. So when I pull back here and you look at this, it looks a little bit more like a web page than the typical, just the, let's see this one. So he's got a picture of a city, and that's great. Okay. Looks like the Brooklyn Bridge. That's great. So now we know where he lives, but we can look here also where Nick lives. And this isn't telling us anything. We want to have this. This is prime real estate, right? Prime real estate, nearly as important and wonderful as the Brooklyn Bridge. So use it to your advantage. Let it impart some of your personality. And what you're doing here is you're priming people. Okay, you're priming them to be like, oh, I'm orienting. Oh, this guy's a recruiter. Okay, he kind of cares about his profile. That's like sort of, oh, he probably polishes his shoes a couple times a year and not just wears grubby sneakers, right? We want to present in a certain way. Well, we can start here. All right. Okay. Let's stop screen sharing for a second here. Oh, I'm so glad to see you guys are still with me. I have no idea people are watching or not when I'm screen sharing. So thank you very much for sticking with me through all of that. We're going to talk a little bit now about interviewing. Okay. We're going to talk about, I'm going to just guess right now that some of you are wondering, like, I'm new to this. I had this whole other career, right? Like, how am I going to get this stuff? Like, I haven't been doing whatever it is that you're studying at Tech Academy for very long. I had this whole other life, or maybe I'm brand new and young, right? So how do I even convey that? So I just want to share, it's really important to identify your relevant skills, right? And relevant skills aren't necessarily just like, oh, I did some project management here, or technical stuff, or some data analysis, or I did customer service at a tech company, right? You want to be thinking, I will ask you to be thinking a little bit more along the lines of, like, what are those transferable skills, right? What are those transferable skills? I'll give you a stupid example. I used to be in a band. I was a drummer in a band, and we just had our second baby, and my wife came down at the time and she said, all right, this is over. And I was like, okay, no more band, right? That was fun for a couple of years, but I was left with this little gap in my heart. And so what did I do? Well, I started playing golf. It was still me and 3 friends for like 3 or 4 hours hitting things with sticks. Okay. Things transfer, right? And it can transfer with your skill sets that you've had in past jobs, or even in college or in high school, wherever you've had some experience. So again, be thinking about, like, where have you maybe developed really good communication skills or teamwork? Maybe you've had to demonstrate adaptability. Maybe you grew up all over the country. Maybe you were an Army brat and you had to make friends really quickly. So you can jump into AI. You can You can just ask the question, just tell them what the problem, tell it what the problem is. Like, hey, I did this, here's my resume. I'm just like not really sure how this background of mine transfers. And I'd probably use ChatGPT or Grok for this and ask it to be conversational with you. So you can really just pull it out of you through a series of questions. All right. But you're going to need to be able to talk about that. The other thing that you can do also is you can think about the industry, right? So industry matters. What if, for instance, you were like I know someone who went to school or went to an academy and got certified and went and got a job. She'd been a vice principal at an elementary school, right? And she learned how to communicate with concerned parents. She learned how to manage and lead other people in that role. And she had like this, barely any tech skills, like at all. She loved the stuff, but she didn't know much. Okay. She was growing, she was learning, she was kind of coming into her own in that area. But she was able to understand that there's a lot of transferable skills. And by the way, what if she went and applied for a technical position at a company or an organization that was educationally focused, right? I mean, maybe you were a truck driver and you want to do some development, for instance. Well, maybe you should apply for a developer position at transportation companies. You're going to know a thing or two, right? That the average Joe walking in on the street who didn't drive a big rig or whatever, or a milk truck or whatever it is, you're going to know something. So take a minute, jot down some notes about the industries that you've worked in, the fields where you know a little bit more than the average person, and then you apply to those jobs. And if you're lucky, you've done everything right with your resume, you've done well here in school, and you're ready for a job, you're going to hopefully get an interview. Okay, so let's talk about that. People, it's very quite simple, and yet so complex all at once, how to have a good interview. I'm going to tell you, it starts here. It starts right here in this box that I'm in. Okay. Many of you might show up and you're going to, go to an office and have a conversation with a company, and it's a local company. But for so many of us now, especially post-COVID, we're working from home, right? Or even if it's a local company, and I've got a company right now out in Tampa, they're having a Zoom meeting with a candidate of mine on Monday afternoon. That candidate's 15 minutes from the office. This is just where they're going to start. Okay. So getting comfortable with Zoom interviews, Zoom meetings, or Google Meets or Teams, you're going to have to get good with that. I recommend the following things. This is basic setup stuff. Okay. One, decent light. Okay, I've got a window here. I got some natural light. I have a light that kind of bothers my eyes. You can probably see it reflecting in my glasses here. You can certainly see it reflecting in my flag picture in the background, but my face is lit. Do not have a window behind you that's going to completely change the brightness and hide your face. Show that gorgeous face. Okay. Show your eyes. Get a little sparkle in it by having some light on you. All right. I just take a light, I shine it on my white wall. It does good enough. It's good enough. Okay. So no bright light behind you. I have a ceiling fan up here. It's not on because it can be a little loud, but I see a lot of people on their laptops, right? And so the angle, just do it. This angle of like looking up, that ain't good, right? And then if you can see the ceiling fan, that's not good. It's moving. All right. You may choose to use a Zoom background effect. Well, that's okay, but that's a last resort. Like that is not where you want to start. Okay. You want to start hopefully with just a blank wall or something nice behind you and make sure that the room is clean. That's going to feel more natural. And the idea is really simple. The idea is you want to feel like you're in the room with someone. Okay. And so here's a little trick. If I'm in an interview and I'm looking over here, right? I've got this big monitor and I have moved like here, I'll look at my face. So I'm looking at my face right now and I'm looking down this direction. Okay. Where I'm looking right now, maybe that's the person who's interviewing me. I'm looking at them right now. Okay. But guys, that ain't the same as this. It's not even close to the same as this. right? I mean, we've got to look at the camera sometimes. Think of a newscaster. Don't they do this? It doesn't mean that you can't, look around or take notes or have your resume up for a reference. That's actually a pretty good idea, right? But if you're interviewing the whole time and you're looking down or in the wrong direction, it's not going to feel very personal. So here's my trick. You take your window, this, we're in a Google Meet, right? You pop it out, you shrink it down, you tuck it in. So it's a tight little box. It's just like right up here and it's right underneath your camera. Okay, maybe you're on a laptop, shrink it, lift it up. You don't need to see, my monitor is, I don't know, like 14, 18 inches high, something like that. Like you don't need to see a head this big on your screen. Shrink it down, stick it right up there. And then this is just approximating right now. This is what it would look like if I was looking at a shrunken down version of a window of the person who's interviewing me. And what's awesome is I've got all this real estate. I can take notes. I'm going to tell them, by the way, I'm going to take notes during this interview. So if they hear clicking, they understand I'm not writing emails. Okay. Right? Or they might just say, hey, look, we're recording this. We'll get to the notes or whatever. Okay. So this is really important. Eye contact, framing. Look at my head. Got a little bit of space above my head, right? It's not like this. It's not like this, I talk to my mom. It's like, this is her head. It's like I see this and then like all this space above. Don't do that. Fill up the screen. The other thing I recommend is you can slide back a little bit. I'm just going to bring my mic back. Slide back a little bit. Right? I would adjust this angle, but now you can see my hands. You can see my chest, right? I don't know if you guys know this, but we are always monitoring. Our like little warning system in our head is constantly monitoring other people's breath rate, blink rate, right? Hand movements, shoulders roundedness, posture, color of their skin, blood flow. Are they healthy? We're constantly monitoring this all the time. That's why you can walk by someone and be like, I don't like them. Okay. That's what happens. That's what that is. All right. So we want to just show our best selves. So it's okay. Give yourself some space. Get your hands up. Don't be doing this. This is crazy land. Hands up here. Down here, it's all right. You can pop them up a little bit. Shows a little bit of trust, if that makes sense. I hope it does. All right. Give me a thumbs up if you guys understand that. If you understand that, I'll go ahead and move on. All right. Yeah. By the way, these thumbs up and stuff, if I'm saying something that you think is smart, give me the feedback. I am not used to this. Okay. Like at all. My show is a live show and we're talking and we're interacting. So me just yapping for like an hour straight, I don't know if I've ever even done it in my life. I'm 52. I don't think I've ever done it, but we're doing it now. So that's cool. All right. So framing, next thing, sound. Do you need a $300 microphone? No, you don't. Just some AirPods. Do not do the big giant, I've got them around here somewhere, canned headphones unless you absolutely have to. All right. Not interviewing a DJ, right? You want to look like you would be interacting with this company's clients, right? I had a golf shirt on. I put on this shirt. It's a little bit nicer than a golf shirt just for this presentation. Am I going to take this off when I'm done? Yeah. So, put a little effort in to what you're wearing. Look nice. You don't have to spend a lot of money, like at all. You don't have to be a fashionista, right? Like at all. And you don't have to hide your personality. A lot of people will be like, look, you can just Banana Republic it up or J. Crew it up and like you're going to be fine and it's fine, right? It's okay to have a personality. Let that shine through. You got a purple mohawk? Have a purple mohawk. I don't care. Nobody gives a shit. Okay, not really. Maybe at a bank, right? So like let your flag fly, but understand that you still, no matter what, have to come across as a professional. And if you don't, your chances of getting that next interview and getting an offer and earning the income that you want will suffer, right? If you're trying to push the look at me thing a little bit too much, no one's going to look at you at all. Now you're shooting yourself in the foot, right? So we have to have this kind of balance between like, being yourself, being who you are, right? And a little bit of, I don't want to say conform, right? I'm just saying like putting people at ease, right? You're trying to make people feel comfortable around you, right? If you're dressing like, I'm gonna chew gum. If you're dressing like, you're a goth from 1989, well, that might be fine for some places. That's great, but it's probably not going to be fine for most places. And now you've just narrowed the field down quite a bit, right? No one's going to hire you just because of how you look. They're going to hire you because you can talk, because you can communicate, because you have the skill set that they need. So let's talk about that for a second. Okay. We talked about this. Quiet, make sure that's quiet. Make sure you have a decent microphone. AirPods are fine, or whatever, headphones that you guys like to use. It's fine, but just make sure it's quiet. All right. No distractions, right? No barking dogs, no screaming kids, no partner who's like going to bust in and start talking to you. No lawnmowers outside. If, they mow the lawn here every Wednesday, like, I would probably try to make sure that I was in a different place if it's going to be loud and noisy, or at least use a microphone or some of the software on the meeting software that will cut out some of that noise, right? So that you can concentrate and they can actually hear you. So what are people actually looking for? I'll tell you, for me, it's like really straightforward. The thing that I want more than anything, you got to have certain things. You got to have the skill set. Like, do you know how to do this? Right? Or do you have the qualities that can get you, put you in a position so you can learn it? Right? That's like the basics. You're not even going to get an interview if that's not like super apparent or obvious on your resume or on your LinkedIn profile, or hopefully both. Okay. So people are looking for a hands-on experience. Hopefully you're getting somewhere you are right now. Strong communication skills, right? That means that you have a certain amount of emotional intelligence. It means you're not interrupting the interviewer. You're not talking too short. You're not talking too long. Someone asks you a question. Hey, do you have experience with this? Yes. Like, sorry, dude. Like, no, don't do that. It's okay to be shy. It's not okay to stay shy in an interview. Okay. It's okay to be an introvert. I love meeting introverts. Okay. But it's not okay to cower, hide, be afraid, And I mean, I'd love to talk for 2 hours about confidence so that you can get to a point where you're not like that if you are like that, right? But you've got to have a little, I don't want to say swagger. I don't want to say, I'm sometimes afraid on these things of even saying like the word confidence, because you have to have, sometimes people don't quite know what that means because they don't feel confident. So then they pretend to be confident. When they pretend to be confident, they come off as cocky. And that's really bad, right? So it's this balance between humility and confidence. Give me a thumbs up if that makes sense to you, okay? It's like, I heard this the other day. My girlfriend said it. I thought it was awesome. She said, ego's not your amigo. Ego's not your amigo, okay? But a lot of fear, and when we kind of get cramped up, some people like kind of like cower, other people get really big, like if I'm having a real crap day and I'm like upset or something, I might walk into a room, or if I'm a little nervous, I'm feeling shy, because I do feel that sometimes. I'm just barely an extrovert, to be honest. Like if I'm at a conference or something, I might come in and I might be like, hey everybody, how you doing? What's going on? Yeah, hey, Josh Matthews, blah, 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 blah. Like I'm overdoing it. Like most people probably can't tell, but I know what I'm doing. I'm faking it, and I'm swinging that pendulum really hard, right? Just chill. Just be your lovely self. You're a beautiful person, right? You're a beautiful person. Okay, right? Don't hide. Don't overdo it. Just get really, really comfortable with yourself and be very authentic. And that can feel scary, because to be authentic, we have to be vulnerable, which means we risk getting hurt. We risk getting judged. And guess what? When you're in an interview, what are you getting? Like, what's happening? You're getting judged. I mean, I don't know about you. I don't really like being in situations where I feel like people are judging me. I've got, 31 people here probably making some kind of judgment about me. It's okay. right? So like, it's normal to feel a little bit afraid of that. And the way that you get rid of that fear is you practice, right? I'll tell you, like when I was in this band, I wasn't that good, to be honest. I wasn't a very good drummer. I didn't learn drums till I was 30, you know? I'd been playing maybe a year and a half. I was so bad, like there were certain songs like I couldn't play them for 20 minutes because like I just didn't even have the muscles in my wrists and my forearms like for that repetitive stuff. I just wasn't good. But you just stick with it and you're going to be fine. So get the reps in. When you get the reps in, and how do you do that? Well, you just open up a Zoom meeting or like your FaceTime, right? Or you do it with a friend. But I would record yourself and you just Google like what are the top 5 interview questions, and then you just start answering them. And then you can go back and look at yourself. Like this is so important. Anyone here ever watch American Idol? Let me see a thumbs up if you've ever seen American Idol before. Yeah. Okay. So like, yeah, like, look, I mean, I haven't watched that thing forever, but everybody knows on that show, some people come in and they're just freaking horrible. Like they can't sing. They have a grossly overinflated sense of ability. You know, this is like the Meet the Fockers, like, you know, a million gold ribbons for participation, but no results, right? Everyone around them is just like, doesn't want to hurt their feelings, tells them they're great. They show up on this show, and then this company, this whoever produces it, Fox or whoever it was, makes millions of dollars by basically publicly shaming and humiliating these people. You know, like that's not good. Right? That's not good because they got out there without checking first. I don't know if they ever recorded themselves and listened to themselves, but you guys all hopefully will record yourself and watch it. Now, don't judge yourself too harshly. Should you be amazing at it? No, of course not. That's okay. And then you watch it and you just pick one thing to work on. Oh, my audio quality was a little bit off. Oh, I really stuttered there a little bit. I wonder if I should practice that question a few more times so I get the hesitation out of it, you know, or remove the hesitation, right? Or I realized I was really kind of mumbling through the whole thing. So maybe I'm just going to, it might not feel normal, but maybe I'm just going to open my mouth up a little bit more when I talk so, you know, you can articulate, people can hear you, right? The best thing to do is to do this yourself. I have this funny feeling that everyone here can do it without beating the crap out of themselves, right? I mean, you're here in school, you're learning, you're adults, and you're investing in yourself. But you don't want to go 25 miles into a marathon just to quit, right? So do this last part so you can get the rest of the way. Everything you know won't matter. Everything that you've learned, all of your tech skills won't matter if someone doesn't give you a chance to apply it. And when you apply it, you actually do a good job and you get a pat on the back and a little bit more opportunity to learn something else and some growth and opportunity, and then off you go. You're going to soar like a rocket. You're just going to take off, okay? So don't skip this step. It's so important. You must self-evaluate yourself, all right? So I know the topic of this thing is, you know, like what are recruiters looking for? I'm looking for authentic people. Not everybody's looking for the same thing. Most recruiters suck, okay? 50% of doctors are the worst half of all doctors in the world, right? Like we're not like all amazing. We're just not. A lot of them don't know what they're doing. This is a career where most of us who are recruiters are here because we were like art majors, like me, right? Like we didn't know what to do. I want to do business. If someone said I'd be good at it, right? And they show up. We don't go to college for this. I heard there's one school in America or 2 schools in America that now have a program, but if that's still going, I'd be shocked. So you've got to understand, you're just talking to someone else and they might not really be great at it. They might know how to ask great questions, but they might be terrible at listening. They might be terrible at interpreting your answers. Who here has ever run into that, right? Like who here has ever interviewed someone? Raise your hand or give a thumbs up if you have interviewed people before, okay? And then give another thumbs up if it's possible, just possible that when you interviewed them and you asked these really smart questions that maybe your ability to actually interpret their response wasn't a 10 out of 10. Is that possible? Okay, so I'm glad to see these thumbs come up here, because this is a really important part. They're just people, right? You know, they get headaches. Someone they love is going through something with their health right now. You know, they are worried about what they look like. They're worried about money. They're worried about all sorts of stuff. They, especially the young ones, will get in there. They'll feel sometimes like either really nervous, or sometimes they might feel like overconfident. You know, I was definitely a little bit like that. And, you know, I look back and I'm like, well, yeah, I was learning. Okay. So you got to kind of forgive them, but check for their understanding. You know, blah, 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 blah. Did that make sense to you? This part was, you know, this experience I had at this company, it was so profound for me. Just really want you to understand that what that means is that moving forward in my career, I'm very aware that of X, Y, and Z. And because I'm aware of that, I think you'll find that if you bring me on board, you're not going to have to worry about that with me, my friend. Like, you just won't, right? You want to give some confidence to these people, because sometimes they're great, sometimes they're not, right? You also want to build some sort of a connection. I can't tell you how many people jump on an interview with me and they go, hi, and I go, hey, how you doing? What's going on? Now, I can get people to open up and I can get them to relax, right? Almost always, not always, but almost always I can do that. But what I am still paying attention to is, are they asking me how I am? Not like, hi, how are you? Nice to meet you. How are you doing? Not that. Like, hey, it's really nice to meet you. I just say thanks for having me here today. I've been really looking forward to talking to you, learning a lot about this company. I've done a bunch of research, but I'm really looking forward to learning a little bit more from you. Let's go. You know, like, whatever. Okay. So if they ask you questions, so what do you do for fun? I always ask people this. What do you do for fun? Right? Oh, I play drums and I surf, or I do this or that, and blah, 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 blah. Okay. Don't just answer it. Now, say, what about you? What do you like to do for fun? People like people who are interested in them. So please try to develop a genuine interest in the person that you're talking to. Okay. If they're quite cold, and there are many of these, I've known a lot of them, they might be like, okay, why did you leave this job? And why did you leave that job? Okay. And how many years of this? Okay. And they're just like going through a checklist. That's fine. They're going to do that. A lot of recruiters do that kind of thing. You just kind of roll with it. Answer, smile. Answer, smile. You know, and then you can just, it's okay to jump in and say like, hey, can I jump in? I'm really curious. I want to ask you something. Right? Slow them down. Get them to look at you. Bring them back here to planet Earth, where a bunch of people interacting with each other, right? And that's actually going to be your job sometimes in some interviews with some people. It's okay. Don't get freaking railroaded by these people. Has anyone experienced that? Give me a thumbs up if you've had an interview where someone was just like, just rolling right over you. It's like they never even gave a crap about what your answers were. They were just in there ticking boxes, right? Like it's a check off, a pre-flight checklist that the flight attendants are doing. No, you can slow them down. You know, you can just hey, get their attention. Right? Hey, I'm sorry. I really love those, whatever. I really like that picture on your wall. What is that? Is that a print? Is that a real flag? You know, you can say that. You can ask a question. If you notice something about them, I wouldn't comment about, especially if you're a man who's being interviewed by a woman, don't comment on their jewelry. Don't comment on anything touching their skin. Just don't do that. Okay. But you can certainly comment on, you know, a photo of their kids in the background, or what have you. Right? Try and find some common ground. You want to demonstrate that you're paying attention, not flirting, okay? But that you're paying attention. So pay attention. Eyes wide open, right? All right. I know we're kind of getting a little bit, short on time here. And I'm not sure, are we going to have a Q&A? I think maybe you already answered that at the beginning. And if not, that's okay. I'll just think if there's any kind of parting words of wisdom I could say. All right, I'll lay it out there. Here's the deal. Get really comfortable with yourself. Understand who you are, right? Research the company very well. Use AI. It's your friend. And by the way, I'm not placing anybody who doesn't demonstrate very clearly and very quickly that they're interested in it. They're not afraid of it. They're ready to adapt, right? If you're not ready to adapt to AI, it won't matter what you do at Tech Academy. It won't matter how good you interview. You will be screwed. I am telling you this, guys. We are at this. We've been chugging up this roller coaster. You know, we're all strapped in. We're going up and 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 up. You know where we are right now? We're here. We're here. I developed a website by myself in 5 minutes using chat the other day. Off it goes. I spent a couple hours on a complicated web application through chat. I'm creating automations on Lindy.ai and things with like lovable.dev. Like, it's happening. Okay. And if you're going to survive, you're going to survive because of two things. Number one, you're going to learn this stuff. You're going to get good so that you're as efficient or more efficient than the next person. Right. That's number one. Number two, you can talk. You can communicate. You're curious about what challenges are going on in the ecosystem and you're ready to solve them. Period. You don't do either of those, you're going to be pulling espressos, right? And pumping gas. Get on the AI. It's not a bandwagon. It is just what's happened. It's here. It's very real. It's very real. I spent I promised on my show, I said, I'm committing to 20 hours of AI education on my own. I did it. Oh my God. Oh my God. Changing my business so quickly, so fast, dramatically. It's awesome. Right? Get going on that, but don't lose this heart that you got beaten in your chest. Don't lose your connections with the people, you know, that you're connected with. Try and create more connections and be more focused on the importance of human connectivity in light of how much we've already lost. I mean, we've already lost it, right? We've already lost it with remote work, with social media. We've already lost a lot of that human connection. Don't lose it, and you guys will survive and thrive. All right, that's my presentation. Give me a thumbs up if you liked it. Hopefully you guys learned something really cool. All right.
Yeah, Josh, no, that was great, inspiring as usual, and you always tell it straight, and that's I think that's really good for people that are seeking work and for our students.
Wonderful.
Now, we usually do open it up to Q&A at the end. Do you have time?
I do.
Okay. What I'll do, I will unmute a mic. So Beth has her hand up now. She did put it up about a little while ago. So we'll see if she still has the question.
Okay.
Beth, I'm unmuting your mic. So go ahead with your question, Beth.
I think it says all muted. Is that correct?
Yeah, no, it's on now. So she is unmuted. She did leave the question a while ago, so she may not have it now. You may have answered it. So
Okay.
let's move on to Brandon. Brandon, do you have a question? All right. No question from Brandon. Now I do have a few questions from the chat.
Stephanie's got her hand up, and Ben.
All right, and Stephanie.
I think there might be something going on with the microphones.
I've got the microphones on.
Hello, can you hear me?
Oh,
Yeah, we can hear you, Stephanie.
Sorry, I had to unmute on my end as well, so maybe that's what other people were experiencing.
Awesome.
I just had a question similar to the one that was raised in the chat about multi-page resumes, whether it's particularly important to narrow down to a page, if you have more experience to go over that, and if it matters at all to you.
Yeah, well, look, my resume's 4 pages long, but I've earned it, right? You know, if you're 40 or 45, 50 years old, you get 4 pages. You know, if you're a doctor, get as many pages as you want. If you have fairly limited work experience at all, and you're under 30 or under 28 or 30, I would probably keep it to a page. The more relevant work experience you have, the longer you get, but there's this idea of like prime real estate. Okay, so as you move through your career, right, on your resume, that you're gonna, for every time you add more information, you're going to edit out a little bit of a few bullets from your older stuff. Okay, so the work that you did in 2015 that took up a half a page of your resume and you were out of place for 2 years, it's too old. It's 10 years old. Okay, and you were only there for a year or 2 years. Okay, now if you're out of place for 10 years and it was last year, you get more real estate for that job because it's recent. So the more recent it is, you get more space, and the longer you're there, you get more space. But you must backtrack and kind of do the reverse and edit down all the other stuff because no one cares, especially in tech. You know, it's like, oh, that's cool that you did whatever .NET in 2001. Well, okay, you know, whatever. Like, it's cool, but it's not gonna. It shouldn't be the thing leaping off your page. Does that make sense? Yeah.
Prioritize.
Prioritize. I see some resumes of people who are my age or you know, in their late 30s, 40s, and it's like they're squeezing so much stuff in. Readability is the most important thing. Okay. And here's the other thing. It's an advertisement, right? We talked about it. It's not a blunt tool. It's a precision knife. Be very specific about what you want to see. If you only have 6 seconds to make an impression on something, which is, you know, what I shared is typical for us when I'm reading a resume, or a lot of recruiters are reading a resume. Guess what? That's the same thing as an elevator pitch. And go Google or go chat GPT elevator pitch. It's about 6 seconds, right? Maybe 5 seconds. But if you're older and you've got some gray hair, you get more. You get a little bit more time. So it's the same thing, right? The older you are, the more experienced you are, the wiser you are, you get more space, right? So that's how it goes. Hopefully that answers it.
Yes, thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah. Great question, Stephanie. And Beth, if you want to unmute your mic, I'm just going to check with you one more time. Just you can ask your question now. All right. Let's go ahead and move on to Ben. Ben.
Can you turn my screen on, please?
Okay. Turning it on now.
I like seeing the faces. This was strange, not just seeing logos for everybody's faces.
Yeah, we had some we had some unfortunate incidents with some trolls, so that's why we do it this way.
I don't like mailbox. I don't like my job.
I'm sorry, Beth. You don't like your job?
I don't like my job.
Okay.
I don't want my mailbox. I don't want to send my mail. I don't want to send my mail.
Okay. Beth. It didn't quite sound like a question, but I hope that you get better at feeling comfortable with your work, and good luck to you.
All right. And Ben, do you have a question?
Yeah, I have a few, but I guess I can choose one. You mentioned LinkedIn. In fact, I mean, it was a kind of a significant part of this kind of tri-part video with resume interview in LinkedIn. And so I know that LinkedIn can be used in a couple different ways, and the main ways being job seekers and then employers or recruiters checking out the job seekers. And coming from the job seeker perspective, anecdotally, I've heard that in recent years that LinkedIn is kind of pointless, I guess, to be blunt. It's not very effective anymore. And so I'm wondering, from the employer, recruiter, interviewer perspective, does it still hold value? Is it still important to have that profile to be a serious contender for a job?
Yeah, I'm really curious about what you just shared, Ben. Who told you it's not relevant?
There has been a lot of just reporting about how, I mean, it's just kind of become a dumpster fire, like most social media companies, as far as like the post feeds. But I've also heard that like there's just so many ghost jobs that A lot of these jobs that you apply for through LinkedIn don't end up going anywhere, and that it's just better to just go to the company's website and apply directly from the website. So, which is, that's a couple points that was the whole point of LinkedIn. And so it just felt like, oh, why is this happening?
Yeah. Look, it's a really fair question. That episode I talked about on my show where we talked forever about the top 1/3 of your resume or of your LinkedIn profile, I spent about 20 minutes going off on these stupid articles that people are writing by these hard done by, couldn't get a job complainers. Oh, no one called me back. Oh, it's like, guess what? They didn't call you back because you didn't have the skill set and your profile sucked. I'm telling you, that's what's up. That doesn't mean that if they don't call you back that your profile sucks. It's competitive, right? When I was, what are there on LinkedIn now? 700 million, a billion people. I mean, it's the largest social platform for business professionals. I was right around the millionth person. Okay, so I've been on the ride the whole time. My house, my kids in college, everything's paid for because of what I do on LinkedIn. There's not a single person that I've ever placed in the last 5 years that doesn't have a LinkedIn profile. And chances are I found them on LinkedIn. Maybe they applied. I don't go on Indeed. It's junky. I can tell or search for the candidates in the same way, right? I can find out so much information on a LinkedIn profile. Can we mute Beth, please?
Yep.
Thank you. So Ben, I'm glad you brought it up because it's clearly like that kind of information is circling around and it makes for great news. It's usually coming from places like Portland and San Francisco and a lot of places that really hate big business, right? I mean, these are the same people that get frustrated when there's a layoff and call companies horrible for Salesforce laid off 10,000 people 2 years ago. Well, they hired 15,000 that year. It's like everyone settled down. Like bad stuff happened. They overhired, right? Like if they don't let those people go, the shareholders are going to pull out all of their investments in the company, and the company is going to shrink, and then they're going to have to fire 20,000, 30,000, 40,000 people. People don't understand how business works. Like they don't understand it, and they complain about this stuff. And anytime some platform gets really, really big, there's always some mouthy person on an independent news channel or an independent blog or something like that to try and tear it down. And I got to tell you, these people make me fucking sick. Excuse my French, but they just make me sick to my stomach because they put these ideas in people who need this tool. I mean, oh my God, don't go on LinkedIn. Oh my God, I'll never find you. You'll never work for any of my amazing companies, Staples, Blue Origin, Cognizant. Like, how do you think I find them? And I'm getting vibrant here, Ben. It's not on you. I want you to understand that. I like you. I'm glad that you asked the question. But I'm so impassioned by this because there's so much BS that's written so that they can sell little pieces of ads on crappy little, typically super progressive platforms. They want to take down every big business, no matter how many people it helps. And it's just, you know what? I'm not into it. They can go hang out with themselves. Get on LinkedIn, get good at it, study it. I mean, think of it. It's like you're in a competition. Like everybody who's still listening needs to know that you're in a competition. And when the economy tanked, which it did, I mean, the last 2 years, it's coming alive now. You can feel it. I'm telling you, I can feel it. All right. For 2 years, it was horrible. Maybe longer. It was so bad. The policies in this country it was not good for our economy. We lost 500,000 tech workers. 500,000 people. Portland, 600,000. Imagine every man, woman, and child in Portland is a tech worker, and it just disappears in like 12, 18 months. That's what happened. So yeah, there's a lot of people out there looking. But these same people, and I can tell you because I just got on a different job, I got 280 applicants for a job that was local. Like you had to be in this one town. You had to be in Washington, D.C. It said be in D.C. Don't apply if you're not in D.C. Don't apply if you're not a citizen or a green card. Don't apply. Okay. 3 people out of that whole group live in D.C. and are citizens. 3 people, right? People are applying to 50, 100 jobs, 20 jobs a day. And they wonder why no one's calling them back, because they're not slowing down. I got into this on LinkedIn the other day with a very nice woman who had some really interesting points. And I hope I kind of cleared the air and corrected things. It's like, well, we're too busy. I'm having to apply to so many jobs. I'm too busy to research the company. I had a friend tell me just yesterday, he said, you know what, I'm doing so much better. I was like, how's business? He's like, man, I'm doing so much better. I used to do a shotgun approach to business, and now I'm doing like one shot, one kill. Right? You pick out what are the 15 companies you would work for, and then you take your time, slow down, go make friends with them on LinkedIn. Hey, we're both in this ecosystem. It'd be great to connect. Then you like their post. Then you comment on their post, right? And you do that, once a week, right? And then you send them a DM and you say, hey, I've been watching, like people do this to me all the time. I'll tell you this. Okay. Quick story. I get a call from a client yesterday. It says, Josh, I need someone who's really good at Agent Force. I need an expert in Agent Force. And I was like, well, good luck with that, because it just came out in September. Okay. So good luck. That's an AI Salesforce thing. So good luck with that. I was like, let me see what I can do. And I went to my database and I ran a quick search, and there were like 6 or 8 people. I got like 80,000 people in my database, and 6 or 8 people, 6, 7, 8 people have this skill set. I looked at one. He's a technical architect. That's what I needed. Picked up the phone. I gave him a call. I was like, did you hit me up on LinkedIn the other day? He's like, yes, Josh. And you said that you didn't have anything for me, but that I should go ahead and submit my resume to your ATS, just submit a general resume. I was like, you kidding? That just happened? Because I think I remember you. He's like, yeah, that was me. Anyway, he interviewed yesterday. I think he's got the job. Like that. Boom, boom, boom. Thank you, LinkedIn. Right? Thank you for him for DMing me. Right? Like this works. It just doesn't work for people who aren't good at it. Why should it? I've got a YouTube channel. Guess how many followers I have? Like 570. It's nothing. I've had it for 4 years. No, I don't have 5,000 followers because I haven't put the time in it to get good at it. Because my videos aren't that great. If they were, they'd take off. Right? If my thumbnails were better, if my content was more relevant, if my camera was better, if my audio was better, if I said this in the first 10 seconds and that in the next 20 and then that in the first minute, and people would watch it if they were shorter, if they were longer, if this, that. If I cared enough to make my channel great, I'd have 20,000 followers on YouTube. I don't care. I don't care. So I don't put time into it. But you've got to care about LinkedIn if you're going to get ahead, especially in the tech market. Like, don't listen to these people. And Ben, you and everybody else who's listening to this, or anyone else who might watch this later on YouTube, like when you hear that crap, I want your spidey senses to go up and just ask a question. Why would this person say this? Why would they write an article or tell someone or make a video? Oh, this and that. Are there fake jobs? Yeah. Of course. So what? You know how hard it is to apply to a job on LinkedIn? No cover letter. Are you a citizen? Yes. Submit. Was that so hard? Way easier than going into some, slalom.com and filling out every little, box and filling out all these answers constantly. Like, oh my God, talk about hard. LinkedIn made it easy to connect people who need to know each other so that business can thrive. It made it easy, not hard. So.
Yeah, no, it is a game of numbers, and LinkedIn is a great way to apply for a good amount of jobs in a short period of time. So,
and make friends and connect with people. I mean, I've got incredible relationships from that.
Yeah, no, it is true.
You guys want me to tell you how I really feel?
Please tell us straight, Josh. Tell us straight. No, that's a great talk, Josh. We do have to wrap it up, and we do appreciate you coming out. It's always great, always inspiring, and like I said, you always tell it straight, so it's awesome.
I try.
I am going to share my screen really quick just to show the attendees who are not students our school, and I'll do this really quick. All right, and we are the Tech Academy. And we are a school, we are a boot camp school. We have programs that are 3 to 6 months long, and we do give comprehensive training in artificial intelligence, in cybersecurity, and in coding itself. So this is just a little bit about us. We're a coding boot camp founded in 2014. We're a self-paced program, so you can set your own schedule. We're focused on in-demand school or in-demand skills. Like I said, cybersecurity and AI are our biggest enrollees at the moment. And tuition starts at $59.80. Let's see, we do offer 12 certifications, everything from AI, like I said, to data science and game developer. That's a really popular one also. And we do have many awards. You can check them out on Newsweek, on SwitchUp, on Career Karma. And we also, you can check out our reviews on Google, any of these sites here. We have some really good reviews. And you can request info at learncodinganywhere.com. We do offer great programs, and like I said, they're 3 to 6 months long, so they are quick, but they are comprehensive. And with that, we will end the talk. And any last comments, Josh?
No, thanks everybody for suffering through this hour and 20 minutes with me. I really appreciate it. It was a new experience for me without that feedback. It really was. Just a quick shout out to my friend John Malden for showing up today. He's a Salesforce guy. I appreciate you coming. And I really wish everybody a very, very successful career. Please follow me on LinkedIn. Okay. It's /Joshua Matthews, and check out the Salesforce Career Show. And I'm happy to come back anytime. I really appreciate you guys.
Awesome. Thanks, Josh. Have a great weekend. We will see you later.
All right. Bye for now. Thank you.
Bye all.